Alright, part 3, the motor and ESC setup. So plenty of soldering in this section. So you can get creative, or as creative as you want, with ESC placement. You know, whether you want to mount it to the arm and zip tie it, you know, mount it to the bottom, put it on the frame somewhere and route the motor cables through the arms. It's really up to you. For just simplicity, I'm just gonna solder these leads right to the PDB, zip tie it to the arm, and then resolder these motor cables, because these KDE motors, for whatever reason, come with really long leads. So we're just gonna trim those down a little bit. Ideally, it's better to have longer phase wires than it is the DC wires. So if you are going to go down the route of routing stuff through the arm, just keep that in mind. This distance isn't too crazy, so it's probably all negligible anyways. So I'm just gonna get a feel for how long I should make the phase wire cut. Probably go pretty short. So I'm mounting that here. Yeah, I could almost just cut the whole thing off. So I'm just going to take the other side, cut them short, put this aside for now. Now, I'm not forgetting to put heat shrink on. I'm just going to do it after, because this is one of the types of solder joints where you are able to put heat shrink on afterwards. Take my time with this one. Alright, we have shortened up all of our phase wires on the motors. We've cleaned up that much wire. Now we can go ahead and solder the ESCs to the PDB. So I'm going to take one of the ESCs, pop off the little covers, and we're going to solder to this one we tinned from part 1. So we already have some solder on there. And I'm going to solder ground and then power. Now I'm applying slight downward pressure on there because I want to squish the wires into the pad to make sure that I'm flowing all of that solder, getting a good, nice connection. Because all of these wires come pre-tinned so long as you don't snip them. You can see we have some wires covered in nice solder. Alright, not bad. One ESC down. Out of an abundance of caution, because I'm clumsy, I'm just going to tape this wire down, kind of out of the way a little bit, that way I don't nick it, and then have to do any more soldering on other wires I'm not trying to actually solder. Oh yeah, and by the way, get into a comfortable spot while doing this. I know I'm kind of contorting and working around all this stuff, but I wouldn't be doing that if I wasn't trying to film. So make sure you're in a comfortable soldering position. That way, you get a good solder joint, and more importantly, you don't accidentally burn yourself. Look at that, we got 4 ESCs soldered up to the PDB. Time to mount the motors. Okay, I'm gonna use one of the bags that came with screws for the motor. Definitely gonna Loctite these. also be using these motor shims to give us clearance there. Okay, gonna put some spinners on. So if you have these style of prop where you just have this singular hole, you're gonna need a spinner to attach the prop to the motor. Now each motor comes with two, a right hand spinner and a left hand spinner. The left hand spinners is actually righty loosey, lefty tighty. And reason being is so it's actually self-tightening for a clockwise propeller, so the propeller doesn't fly off in flight. So we'll put this on this motor. Now, just for reference, so these are the motor orientations. So you can see front back, the propellers will spin in towards the body. So this one back here will be 4. So it's a clockwise propeller. So we'll put the left hand. We'll see why we're doing that later. Okay, I'm going to take this time to check the pin out so I can plug this ESC in. This motor is actually motor 3. So we are going to plug it into M3, which is right here. So this is motor 1, rotating clockwise. So I put the right hand spinner on, and we will be plugging that into M1, which is right here. And you'll see there are 2 leads coming off the ESC. This one with the brown, red, yellow is for programming, which we don't need to worry about. The PWM is black, red, white. I'm going to go left hand on this one. Now this motor, we're going to put our right hand spinner on it. And this is motor 2. So we're going to plug it into M2, which is back here. And for the plug M4 in. I'm going to do a power check now that we have our ESCs and motors in. I definitely want to use a smoke stopper, so I'm going to have to make a little adapter, since while this connector is super convenient, unfortunately our smoke stopper no longer wants to plug in there, thanks to the little XT30. So what I'm going to do is just take another Pixar power module. This is just basically allowing me to extend this a little bit to get it plugged in, but now I can fit that in. We can take our battery, we can plug the drone in, and we should hear some sounds. If everything is working properly, the ESC should beep all the motors. So let's test it. Excellent. All 4 motors are beeping, which tells me that all 4 motors are getting power. And I haven't used KDE ESCs before, but that to me sounds just like an error from them because they have no PWM because we haven't set the flight controller up. So they're saying, hey, I've got no signal, I'm not going to boot up or anything. So everything is looking good. Our drone is complete, at least the build-up. Next, we'll go ahead and jump into some of the configuration stuff.